What does it take to become a product manager? Is a fancy MBA degree or years of experience absolutely necessary to become a PM? Well, that's not at all the case. With the right skill set and approach, anybody can become a product manager. So hopefully by the end of this video, you should have a clear understanding on a couple of things, what are the skills required to become a product manager and how do we gain them? How can you become a product manager irrespective of your educational background or experience and the different paths to achieve them? How much do product managers in general make and how to prepare for product management interviews and apply for jobs? And in the end, I'll also share my own personal experience of transitioning from a software developer to a product manager. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Rupesh and I'm here today to share my own personal experience of transitioning into a product manager. And maybe you can pick up a thing or two from this and it can help you in your journey of transitioning to a PM role. It's going to be a lot of information. So without any delay, let's just get started. And also I have timestamped every topic in the video. So feel free to skip around the video if you're looking for something specific. Okay, so for those who did not watch my previous video, I'll just start by giving a quick recap of what product management is in like 10 to 15 seconds. Yes, product management is this and this, but more specifically, it's a job role in which you try to understand the business objective of a company and then try to identify pain points of customers and solve for them. Not just this, you'll also be responsible for executing the solution and bringing it to life. This is definitely just the tip of the iceberg, and if you want to know more in detail, then just watch this video. Moving on. So we can categorize all the skills required by a product manager broadly into two categories. One is the soft skills. The second one is hard skills maybe. I mean, damn, what is the opposite of soft skills? 1 minute. So hard skills is actually a legit word. But I don't know why it kind of sounds weird to me. So maybe for the sake of this video, we'll call them non-soft skills. And let's start by discussing them. So at number one, we have domain knowledge. So this is like the most fundamental thing that you should be knowing, because if you don't know the domain and don't understand it, then how will you even understand the market or the pain points of the customers? And if you don't understand that, then obviously you won't be able to solve for it. So it's pretty much like a no-brainer. Like you should always be on top of the advancements and the innovations that are happening in your field. Number two is technical understanding. So all the non-engineers out there, please don't freak out, because yes, technical understanding is very important and I'll explain why. But let me make it very clear that it has nothing to do with coding. So see, the thing is, irrespective of the field in which you are, nowadays everybody is incorporating tech into it. Be it finance, education, agriculture, everywhere there's technology. So it's definitely very useful to understand the basics of how technology works. So what I mean by that is you should have a basic understanding of things like what is system design, how does a end-to-end software development lifecycle look like, or what are APIs and how are they used, and so on. Itna pata hona is kind of good enough. And I'm repeating once again, technical understanding is not about knowing how to code. So please don't use it as an excuse. Number three is product development frameworks. So to start with, it is very useful to know the different frameworks that are used to solve different types of problems. For example, there's the North Star metric framework, Kano framework, RICE framework, and there are many more like this. But let me tell you, nobody uses them in the most literal way possible. Like, for example, if you take the RICE framework, which is, used to prioritize the different features that we are releasing depending on the reach, impact, confidence in the solution, and also the ease of making that solution. So it's not like one day the CEO of the company will walk up to me and be like, okay, so Rupesh, we're facing this problem, how do we solve for it? And I be all like, for this problem, we can use the RICE framework in which, we're going to see the reach. No, please don't do that. The idea of knowing these frameworks is just to train your mind to think in these lines when you're presented with a challenge. They definitely give you a starting point where you have to build on top of it. In any real life problem that we face, it's not like we can directly use these frameworks. We have to kind of twist and turn it to suit the situation. Also, on a side note, I mean, this could be a very personal thing and it might vary from interviewer to interviewer, but when I am taking someone's interview and I ask a product related question and the candidate starts by answering, okay, for this I'll use this particular framework, then it's a major turn off for me. Because what I believe in is when you're solving a question or a problem, the framework should reflect in your solution. It's not like you'll state it upfront. Well, anyways, that's just a personal thing. So yeah, moving on. Number four is tools and softwares. So as a product manager, we make use of a lot of softwares to make our lives easier. I can share the list of softwares that I personally use, but there are other softwares in the market as well which are just as good. So broadly categorizing all these softwares, the first one would be for planning and tracking. So I personally use Jira for this, but Monday.com and what was that? Asana. These are also good alternatives. Then comes wireframing. For this, I use a combination of Figma and Balsamiq. And for designing, Canva is a very good tool. Like in its free version itself, there's a lot of features that are available. But I don't personally use it because my role is more technical and we also have a dedicated design team. But yeah, if you want to use, Canva is a very good tool. Then coming to analytics, as a product manager, obviously you'll be dealing with a lot of data and your job is to get like useful insights out of that data. So I personally use Looker for this, but different organizations might use different tools. And in this, also knowing some amount of SQL. Again, it's not mandatory, but if you do know some amount of SQL and how to write SQL queries, then it can be useful because you can write your own queries and get the initial set of data from database and don't have to depend on other people. And a quick pro tip here is nowadays you can also ask ChatGPT to write the script for you and you can just like copy paste it from there. But yeah, again, totally an optional skill, is not mandatory. Then coming to documentation, I use Google Slides and Google Docs a lot because our organization has Google Enterprise version. But other organizations and especially MNCs, I've seen they depend a lot on Confluence for this. And the last one in this is communication. So for this, at our organization, we use Slack and Google Meet. And obviously there's a lot of face-to-face meetings also, for which obviously you don't need any software, we just need a meeting room. But yeah, we do need Google Calendar to book that meeting. So might as well add that in. Okay, so whenever we talk about soft skills, we hear a lot about all these things, but these are very broad skills and are very vague to just name them. So in this video, we'll try to understand how these skills are relevant from a product manager's perspective. Number one is problem solving. So as a product manager, you are the one who's driving the engine and leading the team. So every time there's a blocker or an issue, everybody will look up to you for a solution. And yeah, you should be in a position to answer them. And how do you do that? By having excellent domain knowledge and knowing the product that you're developing inside out. And sure, sometimes these problems are very technical in nature and maybe you're not the right person to answer them. But even in these cases, you should be in a position to identify the actual problem and you should know which team to reach out to get the best solution. Even when you're talking to clients, it's not like the client will just walk up to you and be like, Rupesh, this is exactly what my problem is, so please solve for it. No, they'll just bombard you with all the problems and issues that they're facing. And as a product manager, you should be able to identify the actual problem and solve for it. So this is why problem solving is such a key skill, because as a product manager, this is what we do day in and day out. Number two is decision making. This skill is also pretty much in line with the previous skill that we were discussing. For example, let's say you're solving a problem and you need to analyze a lot of data for this. So the question here is, how do you get the right insights from this data and come to a reasonable conclusion? Sometimes even for a problem, multiple teams will come up with multiple solutions. So how do you identify the best and optimum solution out of this? Definitely this is a great responsibility. I mean, kabhi to fatti hai yaar, because the entire team is going to go ahead on what you're going to decide. So you need to make sure that you're absolutely thorough on your reasoning and analysis. Number three is empathy. This skill is not much spoken about, but for me, it's right up there. Because as a product manager, you'll be talking to different people from different teams and all of them are experts in their own domain. So how open are you in understanding their perspective and learning from them, and also understanding their blockers becomes a key skill. In short, be nice to people, don't be a pain in the ass. Last but not the least is communication. So from whatever I've told up until now, I think it's pretty clear that this particular job role has a lot to do with, talking to different kinds of people. You have to talk to clients, people from different teams, the upper management, and it involves a lot of convincing and also being polite to people. So it's quite evident that you need good communication skills to be able to present your ideas in a very structured and logical way, and also keeping in mind that you don't piss off people in the process. Trust me, you don't want that. Since this video already became very long, I'll be dividing this video into 3 parts. And in the upcoming parts, I'll be covering the different resources to learn these skills and the interview preparation guidelines, and also my personal journey of transitioning into a product manager. Also, if you found the video to be informative, then do consider dropping in a like and also consider subscribing to stay tuned for the part 2 and 3 of this video. Thanks for watching.